This will be a video essay talking about the differences between New World and Diablo 4 and how I have thoroughly enjoyed both games. But they are completely different, and I think my ideal MMO would be a mix of both. This video will not be a video about which is inherently better than the other, but it will be more focused on which aspects of the games I enjoyed the most and what my ideal MMO would look like. I also understand that this is from a completely casual player's perspective, and that the hardcore fan bases of both games may not agree with my opinions. So I'll start off with the positive things about New World. I enjoy that New World has a classless system where I can pick up whatever weapon I want and play whatever class I want, because the weapons dictate the class rather than the class dictating the weapons. I feel like leveling up the weapons to become stronger could have been easier in the mid to late game. I felt like it was really easy early game, leveling, doing the campaign, doing a set group of weapons. When it gets to the end, you really got to grind that weapon XP. But then again, that gets a bit harder late game when you're trying to juggle so many other things as well. But the thought that I could pick up a weapon and level it up and just become a healer out of the blue just excited me to play the game. The crafting and resource gathering in New World was by far better than anything in Diablo. When I had free time in the world, I would go out into the forest because I needed to get X amount of iron to get to 200 smelting. This 200 smelting would allow me to get to 200 weaponsmithing. The amounts of times I would ask my friends to go gather resources for me, and the chats we had while running through the forests, swamps or mountainous regions, just gathering stuff, it just brought us closer together, and it was chill. It allowed for growth in our friend group, and just a whole bunch of fond memories from this. Just gathering resources. The last thing that I thoroughly enjoyed about New World was the satisfying combat. The combat felt immersive. When I swung my warhammer and connected with an enemy, I felt like I was hitting them. It felt fantastic. Seeing the healing numbers pop up on the ground after I had just put down a sacred ground. It would hit all the right dopamine buttons in my head. It just felt like I was hitting hard, and felt like that when I got hit, I was actually getting hit. It did a really good job. Some limiting factors about New World were the server size. Only having 2,000 people per server, it often felt like some areas of the map were ghost towns. First light would often only be being seen by the resource grinders and some crafters, depending on what the company of holding first light was making, to see if they were making the right upgrades in their town. Because obviously if you have like a level 5 smelter, it would be better than a level 2 smelter. All the quests felt repetitive. The quests were very much, go here, get that, bring that here, go harvest this so I can make a potion, go slay this enemy type to get their drops, or go loot a chest for a quest item. It was all the same, all throughout the leveling grind. There's been a positive turn towards a unique quest with the introduction of the Monarch's Bluff and Windsward 1 to 20 early quests, but and seeing like the mythological side being brought in, that was pretty cool. I think they've got a long way to go, but I do see positive turns for New World in the future if they keep going. The in-game content, other than farming the same dungeons over and over, often felt like we were getting pushed towards PvP. Another MMO that I play called RuneScape does an amazing job at keeping the game fresh and not needing to go towards that PvP in-game. Grinding bosses for unique drops, getting maxed in all stats to get a cool reward, quests not being a leveling system but rather a choice to do them, do them or not system. There were many directions New World could have gone, but they chose to go the stock standard, like, World of Warcraft way. Which is alright. I just prefer RuneScape. Some things I like about Diablo 4. So we're on the Diablo 4 part of the video now. Crossplay. Any game that now has crossplay instantly gets like higher votes from me. Being able to play with certain friends that only play on console is super cool. And from what I've seen, controller players don't seem to have a disadvantage compared to keyboard and mouse players. Diablo 4 can be a lean back and chill game if you play a certain way, which is awesome. The story of Diablo 4, the story is easy to follow along with. Spoiler alert, if you want to not listen to it, skip now. A rogue angel and a rogue demon created a world, and they come back to the world after millennia to fight for it again. Lilith's character development over the story, how she's kind of gone from loving this race that she's created to being indifferent towards them and just using them for her own means. Inarius also creating this race with Lilith, but now he has his one goal of going back into heaven. It's just, oh, so much drama. It's so cool. Another thing I like about Diablo is no one class seems to be stronger than the others. Each class has an intense end game and allows each player to scale to do insane damage no matter what your build is. Some builds might be better than others, but it doesn't mean that you can't do in-game dungeons and things like that. Another thing I like about Diablo 4 is as I was writing the script, I'm actually playing Diablo 4 on the side. So that says many things that I still like the game, I'm playing it, chilling out. I think I'm level 62 now. We'll get to 100 and then see how I feel then. The skill tree is super easy to follow in Diablo. I was a Diablo noob and I was able to follow along and find out what I needed to unlock the next ability. I was able to refine and make my own decisions about my builds that may have not been the best but were close enough for the story missions. I have since then eventually caved and looked at a build by Hyperion for my Necromancer. So yeah, I feel like I'm pretty strong for the time being. Some downsides about Diablo 4 are that the end game is lacking. I feel like the crafting and resource gathering side of the game is also lacking. They have stated that they will be making it better in the future, but until then they will continue to be a bit let down. With the end game being lacking, it's not lacking, it's just a bit repetitive. Doing dungeons, increasing nightmare dungeons, hell tides, tree of whispers, capstone dungeon, just all of that over and 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 over. Maybe some PvP over and over and over and over. It can just get pretty mundane and boring. But not there yet. We'll see how I feel when I'm getting closer to 100. Again, the game feels like it's a bit of lacking. It feels like a dungeon grinding in world events until you're 100. And as a casual player, you might not be playing all the seasons that come out. You might be playing like season 1 right now, maybe season 3, maybe season 5, like skipping a season each time. Well, it's just waiting for a DLC pretty much. So overall, I reckon the two games have their own strengths, but fail in the late game. Ultimately, it does not matter which game is inherently better than for the player. If you enjoy one game more than the other, just play it. You don't have to shit talk a game just because other people play it. Just, enjoy your time. There's enough hate in the world. to not to spread that shit around. This negative atmosphere around which game to play is getting out of hand. People have different tastes, and that is the important thing to remember. So yeah, that's me signing off on my first video. Thank you for spending your 10 minutes watching it, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.